Greetings and welcome to In-Depth. I'm Dike Rostant. There is a conference taking place and it is designed to bring together delegates from 16 international countries. Now, this in order to facilitate an aim of navigating SMEs through challenges and helping them move from simply functioning to absolutely thriving. Now, to speak more to that, we are going to be speaking with Managing Director of EJ Building Bridges, Mr. Randall Howe, about the rationale as why you shouldn't be making use of this opportunity. And we want to thank you for joining us, Mr. Howe, but give us an overview of EJ Building Bridges, please.
Okay, so EJ Building Bridges is a UK-based business. It was started by Miss Deasi and Williamson. She actually started it just about 2 years ago. Next month will be make it 2 years that the business has been in existence. It actually started firstly via radio, and then it branched off into what it is now, which is a consultancy firm, or more or less a one-stop shop that is actually a shop that could actually undergird all the SMEs, not only locally, but internationally. We actually have reach within 16 different countries, 14 of which would actually be here in Trinidad for our conference.
Now, with your history, Mr. Howe, of regional directorship roles, what really attracted you to EJBB and made you say, yes, I want to work with these people?
What attracted me to EJBB? Okay, so the CEO, who is Miss Deasi Williamson, the EJ is actually short for her mother's name, which is Esther James. And Building Bridges is more or less a adage that was added onto it. This entire vision, as it relates, is actually stemmed off of Miss Williamson's mother, which was she gave her mother a dying wish, actually, of her mother actually had envisioned having multiple countries under one roof. And that was when Miss Williamson was 17. I actually have known her since the age of 13 because we went to secondary school together, which is St. James Secondary. We lost contact and only re-engaged with each other just 2 years ago. And she reached out to me saying, she calls me Howie. So she was like, Howie, I have something that I want to come to you with, but just keep your mind open to it and let's see what we can do. And June of last year this month makes it an entire year that she actually reached out to me and I joined in this journey with her in EJ Building Bridges.
But keeping your mind open, I think, is so important, especially when you give me the timeline. That means that this was started during the pandemic. I mean, yes, people have pivoted, people have done things by force, some by choice. What are some of those things that you think have really put EJBB on the right track for it to start scaling up from starting on radio to doing other things at this one-stop shop that you're talking about?
Okay, so what actually built Miss Williamson to actually progress towards this is that she's actually turning the age that her mother died this year. She's actually turning 45, and she saw it as the time that is needed. We have a lot of SMEs that would have actually come through the pandemic. Some may have not made it. Some may actually still trying to recover. So with her turning 45 and the pandemic more or less coming, I wouldn't say to a final phase, is more or less where she said, now is the time for us to actually undergird these SMEs to reach where they need to reach in this time. A lot of persons, what we've seen in the consultancy that we have done, some of the SMEs, not only locally here, but internationally, may not even know how to do a proper business proposal. They may not know how to do digital transformation. They may not know how to do their social media. They don't know how to do their websites. So with coming out of the pandemic and trying to ensure that these businesses don't suffer let's say the debt toll of you having to, let's say, surrender your business, surrender your dream, we decided to embark on CTE, which is Committed to Excellence 2023. And this is going to be our exemplar conference starting in Trinidad, where Miss Williamson was born.
And even before we actually speak to the conference itself, you just spoke of some of the challenges that SMEs faced, but there are certain consultancy agencies that would not necessarily want to deal with SMEs in the first place. You don't know this? Well, that's your business. You don't know that? Well, that's your business. Because I don't think, or let me say it differently, the amount of energy that I may need to spend with you for you to build a capacity, I can go to someone else who is already doing these things, offer my services, and I get a lot more return on my investment in terms of what I'm offering to that place. Why this decision to say, okay, well, we are going to work with these SMEs. We are going to build them. We are going to carry them across.
Right. So the reason why we decided to go to the SMEs is because the SMEs are, let's say, they are not, let's say, given the forefront as these large companies may have. They may not have the insight to actually reach to that other level. So we started from the ground up. Now, I have come from a humble home. I'm a husband. I'm a father of 3. And I've never really been given the opportunity. Let's say I need to start a business. The young entrepreneurs there are actually unable or may not know which direction they need to pivot to actually build. So in order to, let's say, build that, let's say, camaraderie, say we go to the small man. So the small man is more or less where we start. When you could start and you could undergird and you could build somebody, let's say the gravity of what that could give to you as being insightful into where you need to go is one of the main things that we have. We have something that we actually follow, which is something, our modus operandi, which is JEDI. JEDI is justice, diversity, exclusion, equity, and inclusion. So those are the things that we actually use to focus and build persons from that level. We are trying to pivot persons to where they need to be, not where they are now. One of our accolades is that we build businesses from striving to thriving.
And how much of that is mental, Mr. Howe? And I ask that question because some people, or you yourself might say, it was the luck of the draw that you decided to do what it is you do in terms of a career. And I see that you excel in networking, leading virtual teams to achieve exceptional service. But sometimes a person is able to, they have the acumen, but the mind is not necessarily taking them there. Do you find that one of the challenges when dealing with SMEs, well, I never do it like that? Or is it a matter of, I don't have anything else to lose, so let me learn and let me do, what is their experience dealing with those two separate types of mindsets?
Well, the thing with it is that dealing with those mindsets are quite, let's say, I wouldn't say difficult, but in life, what I've seen is that you live and it's a constant learning experience. So some things that you may have, or let's say you may have the knowledge of, but let's say you have to break it down to layman terms for persons to understand. Some persons, from what I've experienced with this consultancy in some SMEs, some persons are already acclimatized to certain aspects in their SMEs. Some persons, they don't even have a vision, they don't have a mission statement, they don't have a vision statement. So some of them may have it, but they're not living it. In order for persons to change that mindset, they have to dig deeper within themselves to understand their business. They have to understand the why. And once you could understand the why you started this in the first place, that is where you'd want to invest in yourself to actually reach and continue growing and not just settle for where you are now. So some of the SMEs that we have, let's say, we have actually, undergirded 6 SMEs thus far, locally here. And those SMEs that we have actually undergirded has actually moved into profits. That is because they actually listened. They took the knowledge that we would have given to them, and they actually started to grow and grow and grow. And that just shows that when you start somewhere, don't get, let's say, caught up in where you are. Keep focused on where you want to reach.
And with that in mind, what is the main purpose of the upcoming symposium?
The upcoming symposium is actually to gather the SMEs into one location. As I said, as I mentioned, we are actually going to have 14 countries within that region, from the likes of Zimbabwe, Ghana, Canada, USA, the UK. All of them will be there. So this entire symposium is to actually build the SMEs, meaning that we're actually going to be giving them master classes. They're going to have a master class scheduled virtually for the 7th, which is where they're going to be learning from leading keynote speakers as it relates to the business world. We're going to have stakeholders. We're going to have, let's say, something called a pitch in this symposium called Mind Your Business. This is where persons who are interested to actually enter into this, we'll have a selection of 2 persons. They have to pitch their businesses, and the winner will actually win 20,000 TT towards investing into their business. And not only from that, we're actually planning to ask persons to actually apply, because we will actually be giving out 15 scholarships for UK accredited courses for business entrepreneurs. So we are here, we have decided to bring this in to allow SMEs to, let's say, not stay local. This is not like the normal upmarket. This is actually something that we are actually copywriting called a hybrid marketplace. This hybrid marketplace that we're going to have is actually going to have our volunteers will be, before the marketplace actually opens, they're actually going to match the stakeholders with who they may be interested in. And those entrepreneurs will actually be able to, let's say, liaise with these stakeholders, give them some insight into their business, where they plan to be, where they are right now, or what they are actually focused on. And then if stakeholders, you never know, this is where they could actually move from being local to international.
And in that terms of scaling up, we'll start to speak about that again when we return from this break. We are speaking with the Managing Director of EJ Building Bridges, Randall Howe. Stay with us. We return with more. Welcome back. We are speaking with Randall Howe, Managing Director of EJBB, EJ Building Bridges, and we're really looking at the Committed to Excellence International Entrepreneurship and Leadership Conference and Gala. Now, how do you decide who is going to be a member of this event, Mr. Howe, in the sense that you spoke about people as far away as Zimbabwe, but how do you decide the cohort?
How do you decide who is in? Okay, so the decision, this is for the vendors or is for the investors? Sorry.
Well, tell me about both, thank you. I fasten in your business.
No problem. Okay, so for the investors is that most of the investors that are, or stakeholders, I should say, that will be here are actually are persons that we would have interacted with in our time that we have actually had the company. They would be interested in certain products. It will be products that may not be based in their country. And they would want to have these products that are actually sold within their country. So they are actually coming to, let's say, scope the lay of the land to see what it has in Trinidad and Tobago that can be exported from Trinidad, imported into their countries, and have physical sales. As it relates to the vendors that are enlisted we reached out, through the team, which some of them are based in Trinidad, some of them in the UK. We even have a member of the team who's based in Guyana, and we would have pushed these out to a lot of SMEs. We currently have a total of 47 SMEs which are enrolled and registered to take place in the marketplace, and they are actually keen and looking forward to this. We didn't put a limit as to who or what we want there. We put it out there. If you're interested, this is the place. If you want to elevate yourself, this is where you want to be. If you want to be undergirded, this is where you need to be. We put it out there. We actually had to shut down our registrations, but so many persons wanted and looking to reach to that other level. And it's just been amazing, the journey that we've had with the local vendors being so interested in this event.
And I want to go back to mindset, because there have been a few things that you said in terms of looking forward, people coming from different parts, different jurisdictions, looking at the fact that we have there's so much international flavor and influence. In the 2 minutes that we have, I want to speak to how important it is that people not limit themselves, but just try to go best practice with whatever you are doing, because you do not know where you're going to be scaling your business to and where you'll be operating from.
Right. It's funny you ask that question. I started, let's say, investing in myself, not thinking that I could reach to a certain level. And so I started looking into myself, and you know what actually pushed me towards building myself? It's my why. If somebody starts a business, they have a reason behind it. They have to have a why behind it. Why am I starting this business? Why do I think this business is for me? Why do I think I need? But some persons that, let's say, may want to reach to that other level of export, they may not know the direction they need to take. They may not know how to elevate. They may not know how to speak in front of investors or stakeholders. They may not know how to propose their business. That is one of the things that it's you having to invest in yourself, because you are your main product. You are the one that pushes your product. You are the one that knows your product better than anybody else. So it's always up to you to want to reach that level. And you have to focus on why you started and why you think now is the best time to actually elevate. But some of the things that they also may not know is that the countries that are coming in, they may not have that what you're actually selling here locally there. So you have to come with the mindset open and believe that you may have the product that one of the investors may be looking for, and you will be international.
And I like the fact that as opposed to just that level of experience and building that mental capacity, there's also cash incentive for business pitches, cutting edge smart tech gadgets, and so much more. But we want to thank you, and I'm sure that people will be tuning in to see how more they can get a little more information about it, even though you say you're pulling down registration a little more at this point in time. But Mr. Randall Howe, Managing Director of EJBB, we want to thank you so much for sharing that time with us. And on behalf of the entire TTT News team, this has been In Depth with me, Dike Rostant. Thank you so much for joining us.